Good morning children. In the last session I explained you the concept of object and I think you understood what is the object. All living and non-living things surrounding our nature is called an object. Whatever you are seeing around you, that is called as an object. For example, your pen, pencil, book, a copy, chair, table, pet, car, all these are known as an object. Okay, and according to the definition, it is an entity which has a state, behavior and unique identity. Okay, state, that is nothing but the data, behavior, how it is functioning, and unique identity, the names of the object. Okay, so in this session I explain you the concept of the class. So in that last video also I told you about certain things about the class. So the class is the creator of an object. Okay, so the class is responsible for creating an object. So in this video I have to go to the detail about the class, the concept of the class. You see, the object and the class are related to each other. Without a class, the object we cannot be create, or without object there is no value of the class. So both are interrelated. Okay. Now what the class is called? The class is called as a blueprint. Okay, and from where multiple objects can be created. Okay, another way also we can say the class is a blueprint that represent a set of objects that share common characteristic and behavior. Now see here, the class which will be called as a blueprint. What do you mean by the blueprint? And what is the multiple objects? Okay, that means multiple objects means the class is responsible for creating similar type of more than one object. That is called as a multiple object. Now again come back to the blueprint. What is the meaning of the blueprint? Okay, from this example you can understand clearly what is the meaning of the blueprint. Now you know the architect, what he has to do? He design a plan for the house on a paper. Okay, that design is nothing but what? The diagram of the house. But from this diagram or from this design, the mason has to build the house. So when the design will be on the paper, that is the virtual one, but when the mason prepared the house, that will be the final product, that will be the real one. So the real one, the house, is known as an object, and the diagram or design or the plan made by the architect on a paper is called as a blueprint. Okay, now here what the class has to do? The class has to also design or prepare the structure of an object first. Okay, the other example is other definition you just see. Class is a blueprint that represents set of objects, same the multiple object. The set of object is nothing but what? The multiple object that share a common characteristic and the behavior. What is the meaning of the common characteristic and behavior? I can say that the class is responsible for creating similar type of object. All the object sharing a common characteristic and behavior means the common data and the functions or the method. From here you can more clearly understood from this example. You can say that suppose you take the housing society is a class. Okay, the housing society is a class, and from this housing society so many flats, suppose 100 flats are going to be prepared. So this flat 1, flat 2, flat 3, like 100 flats, all these are made from the housing society. If the housing society is the class, then this flat 1, this flat 2, this flat 3, all these are known as an object. What it is called? It is called as an object. Okay, now from this housing society, it is only the flat are going to be prepared, not the school. Okay, not the restaurant. So all are similar type of flat. The design made for all flat are same. Okay, the flat one, how it is look, the flat 2 also same looks as the flat 1. Okay, all the structures of the flats are same. Okay, now same again, you just take another example of the apple. Suppose apple is a class. If I am saying apple is a class, and this from apple, there are different type of apples are prepared. Just for example, one royal delicious apple, the green apple, the golden apple. All these are what? These are the object. What it is? The object. Okay. Now from this apple class we are getting the apple only, not the orange. Okay, so all these apples are name are different, but their characteristic and the behavior are same. Okay. Now for another third example, you can see, suppose there is a 9th A student class. Okay, 9th A student class, and there are 40 children will be there. The student roll number, student 2 roll number, 3 roll number, like this 40 roll numbers are there. That means 40 students belongs to the class 9th A. And these 40 students are the object, and the student 9th A is the student class. Okay, from this, in this class, all the students having the same state and same behavior. Okay, so we can say the class is a blueprint that represent a set of objects that share the common characteristic and the behavior. Okay, now the question is arising, what the class has to do, how it is created an object. Okay, see here, the class is a structures or template. What is the meaning of the template? That is the shape. The shape of a object has to be created by the class. The structure has to be created by the class, or the structure has to be designed by the class, and from the structures the object has to be created. So now come back to the definition again. The object contains what? The state and the characteristics. States means state or characteristic, that is the data, and the behavior, the method. These two things are related to the object. The object contains what? The behavior and the what? The characteristic. The behavior is nothing but the method, and the characteristic nothing but the data. These two things has to be designed by whom? These two things has to be designed by the class. The class has to be designed, the how, what are the data and what are the behavior has to be in the object. Okay, now from another we can see here how to define the class and how to create an object. Suppose for example, you just look at here, the 9th A student is the class. Okay, now first we have to make the structures. The structures contains what? The state and the behavior. The state, for example, you take the state as a roll number, the name, the phone number, address, marks, so many things are there, but just I mentioned the three things: roll number, name, and the phone number. And what the student object contains? The behavior: walking, talking, appearing in the exam. That is the behavior of the student object. Okay, so first the class has to be do what? Design the structures. Design the structures means what it has to design? What are the state and what are the behavior? Okay. Now from this class structures, the individual object has to be created. Like if the class contains the 40 students, the 40 object has to be created. I am just giving two object example. You just see the individual object, that is student 1, that is the contains what? Roll number 1, name suppose Ashok, the phone number will be 9873561011, and the behavior will be walking, talking, appearing the exam. Same way another object student 2, their roll number will be 2, name is the Neha, phone number will be 9483, like this, and the behavior it contains walking, talking, and the appearing the exam. So from this structure, the common structure is there for all the objects. Okay, but their data are different. It will be, when you will do the programming, it will be more clear. Now just you remember, the class first define the structure, and from this structure the individual object has to be made, which has to share the common characteristic and the behavior. Okay, so in that class, we can again go back to here. The class is the structure or template which is responsible for creating the object. And what we have to bound inside the class? The class is just like a container which contains the behavior and the characteristics, the method and the data. Okay. Now, just another thing. You go to the see in this slide, I have written the class is an object factory. Okay, what we can say, class is called as an object factory. Why class is known as an object factory? So first we must know what is the factory has to do. All of you acquainted with the factory. In a factory, different type of similar type of product or item has to be prepared. For example, take as an example of the toy factory. Okay, in the toy factory, it is responsible for the creating the toys. So, do you think the factory has to create only one toys? No, it has to. The factory is responsible for creating multiple toys, innumerable of toys. Okay, so same just like for another example, BMW factory. Okay, in the BMW factory, if it is a class, BMW factory is a class, and then BMW factory will be responsible for preparing the BMW car. So what we can say, same factory is used for making similar type of product. Same way, class is also responsible for creating innumerable of object or multiple object. So that's why class is known as an object factory. Okay, now again I can say why class is known as an object factory. Just like a factory, class is also responsible for creating innumerable or multiple objects. So that we say class is known as object factory. For example, you just see, if I go back to that 9th A student class, and the 9th A student class, we are creating student 1, student 2, student 3, like your 40 student object. So this is the, if I am talking, the class is a factory from where we can create multiple object. Okay, now this much today. I think you can understand what is the class. The class is the creator of an object. Class is responsible for creating a object. Class is known as a blueprint from where we can create multiple objects which share common characteristic and the behavior. Another point we understood, that class is known as an object factory. Okay, this much for today. Thank you.